In advance of the next elections, Republican operatives are out in force trying to court the minority vote. There are representatives being sent out to the African American communities, Hispanic communities. Let's focus today on African Americans. Now, black conservatives for a long time have said that African Americans are on the Democratic plantation and they would do much better if they were to give conservative politicians a try. That in the long run, their economic policies, their policies when it comes to crime and punishment and things like that, would be much better for the black community in America. As always, unfortunately for them, we have some numbers, and today we're going to looking at data from 1948 to 2010, Hajnal and Horowitz found that African Americans tend to experience substantial gains under Democratic presidents, whereas they tend to incur significant losses or remain stagnant under Republicans. So that is their overall result of this research that has been done over a very long time span, where you have had alternating periods of Democratic governance and Republican governance when it comes to the White House. Moving on. On average, under Democratic presidents, blacks have gained $895 in annual income, saw a 2.41 point drop in their poverty rate, and a 0.36 point drop in their unemployment rate. By contrast, under Republicans, blacks gained $142 a year, along with a 0.15 increase in poverty and a 0.39 point increase in unemployment. So overall, if you go year by year, that's just the initial surface data, it doesn't look good for the effect that Republican presidents have had on the African American community. Now, if you were to look cumulatively, all of the years of the Democrats versus all of the years of the Republicans, how did those compare? First, the Democrats. 16 years of Democratic presidents. Overall, the black poverty rate declined by nearly 40 points. Under 35 years of Republican governance, the black poverty rate increased by 3 points. Now, I know what a lot of you who have a little bit of scientific method training are probably going to say. Having a Democratic president on the one hand, having a Republican president, those are not the only things that were going on in the country during those times. Very wise of you to say that. Of course, there were many different things. The economy was up in certain years, down in other years. We were at war in certain years. All of those things have effect on the economy in America. But they, of course, have control variables, and so, of course, they've controlled for many of those things as they can. All else equal, black family incomes grew over $1,000 faster annually under Democratic leadership than they did under Republican presidents. Likewise, the black poverty rate declined 2.6 points faster under Democrats, and the black unemployment rate fell almost 1 point faster. That is controlling for median income in the country to take into account sort of ups and downs in the economy and things like that. We're talking about directly compared to other groups in America. It seems like over a very long period of time, Republicans that represent relatively more and less conservative and liberal fiscal policies, they've had their try. The results are in. They don't have what it takes to give black voters what they need. And I understand that some of you are probably going to say, well, look, this is just sort of the white man's burden, like they got to help out the black voters. That's not at all what it is. The philosophy and the motive for this study was to treat black voters exactly like every other voters, that they have self-interest, that they vote for their own economic interests, as we expect every group in America to do. And it appears that blacks have not been taken in by false promises by Democratic presidents. No, instead, they have correctly looked at what has happened when Democrats have been in office and what has happened when Republicans have been in office. They have the same level of political sophistication when it comes to understanding what is going to happen to them economically. Now, obviously, we're focusing here on African Americans, but they did have some research into other minority groups in America to see how they fared under Democrats and Republicans. And so we're going to lightly touch on those as well. Latino incomes grow and Latino poverty declines under Democrats, while incomes shrink and poverty climbs under Republicans. The data for Asian Americans points in a similar direction, with greater gains under the Democratic Party compared with the GOP. Minority gains don't come at the expense of white Americans, but it's not clear which party is better for white economic interests. So whether you're talking about African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, it's clear, data, over 60 years, almost 70 years now, they do better economically under Democratic presidents. I guess it's easier if you're a Republican to just make the case that these groups are too stupid to know what's good for them, that they're being lied to, that they're being brought in by these lies, or they're just being turned off by the clear, repetitive racism on the Republican side. But that's not the case. They see the effect on their own pocketbooks. They see the effect on the unemployment rate, and they're interpreting it correctly. I'm not saying that any Democratic president in the future is going to be great for these minority groups, but it seems like based on history in America, they will be better for you than Republican presidents at the very least.